Okay.
It says that recording hasn't started.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
We got new members already. That's exciting.
We are live.
We are
Are we
live?
live?
Yep.
Live
live?
at the Boss Garage.
Mine says it hasn't started yet.
It started.
Definitely has started.
Now it says it's live.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
So we're here-
Well,
We got rich today.
We're rich. We're rich.
Filthy
how's it
rich.
going, guys? Rich. Hey, Rich. Thanks for joining us on the podcast here.
Anytime. I was waiting
think
on
this-
I was almost disappointed. I'm like, when am I going to get my invite? Like, I'm doing quite a bit for this company. I'd like to share what we're doing.
Only the vice president, you know.
The vice president
Yeah.
of WTF.
Yeah.
So,
We've
Rich,
talked about
let's
Kenworth.
get into it here. We have had an amazing week that we can't really talk about too much, but we can talk about.
We can talk about it. So the LC, we've been hammering on this thing for the last couple months, nothing short of like almost a miracle where we just assembled the whole thing. We never really did anything twice. It was such a tight package, and then we had a really good company do the low voltage wiring on it. And then Keaton was just here for about a month and just slowly turning every system on. Every system turned on. So the offshore power, the generator, the engine, we were able to get the engine to rev up. Batteries were able, the axle started spinning forward and reverse. And like every day or two, another system would be live. And nothing short of like the last minute down to the hour, a couple all-nighters. They wanted this thing on a specific date. We brought it across the border and shipped it to the location, and then Ray and I followed it to a test facility, so a third-party test facility, where we did find some deficiencies. And it was pretty intimidating. It's a very well put together shop. It's a well put together company. This is what they do. They test vehicles. So we put on a hoist. We went over the whole thing. Like, oh, this nut is not tight all the way, and this hose is going to rub, and we think that the cab is going to shift and is going to hit this hose, so that has to change. And they found quite a list. And then when they were done, they're like, you know what? Of all of the first kind of one-offs of that we've tested, this one's actually in pretty good shape. So it took us about a day and a half to finish those, make it so that they were happy that they were able to take it on the course. And then from there, it just they just test each system to the full extent of what it can do, and it did the first shakedown with zero issues. So drove it for about a half hour. We had to climb a 20% grade, a 30% grade, a 40% grade. We had to stop in the middle of the grade and then continue up the grade. It had to climb curbs. It had to do like rough road at a certain speed. It had to do brake testing and all of that. And they're like, wow, this hybrid actually is one of the best ones we've tested so far. And that made us just completely ecstatic. Ray and I had a great time there. From there, now they are, the cool thing is that now they are putting in sensors all over the truck. So they're checking temperatures and voltage draws, and even though we have our screens telling us what we're reporting, they're doing their own sensors on there and verifying that our screens are correct, and making sure that nothing gets hot. And from there, we'll get a whole data report as to what needs work, what works good enough, what needs improvement. And from there, we're taking all that knowledge and putting that into the RAM. So it's been absolutely surreal that the whole truck kind of came together. We fit semi-truck parts into a Land Cruiser, which is just barely bigger than a Ford Ranger, and it actually works.
When does like the next part of that testing that they're doing happen? That's like over the next few months, or
yeah, it's the next few months. So they'll we were actually told today that initially we were supposed to be there the entire time. Then when we were there, they're like, you know what, you don't need to be here the whole time. you can go home. And we just found out today that they said, you know what, unless it breaks, you guys don't need to come back. Like, all the systems are working. We're just going to put our sensors on it. We're going to get more and more aggressive with it. If it breaks, we'll let you know. But we understand how this thing kind of works, and we're comfortable with everything you guys have done. So hopefully we don't have to go back. So that was a nice compliment today too. So it's going really, really good.
What was the reaction like from the driver?
So the nice thing is, and people, the number one comment that we got is, why don't you just put an electric motor in front of a transfer case? Why don't you just put drive shafts to the axles? Why are you guys making all these axles this complicated? And we said, trust us, like U-joints are going to be the weak point in our axles. So every other hybrid that they've tested has had an electric motor in front of the transfer case, every one of their trucks. And the problem with that is there's no room for the batteries, because you're taking up all this inventory with a transfer case and drive shafts. And two, your throttle mapping has to be very delicate to not shear these U-joints, because the electric motors just have all that torque, right? So first off, they said when the engine isn't working in all the other hybrids that we've tested, the batteries are so small that they can only do one test at a time. They can only do one grade. Then they have to either recharge it where the grade test site is, because it's not close to anywhere there's electrical power, or they have to drive it back to the shop again. Because we have the electric motors in the axles, we've got large enough batteries that did all the tests all at once. And we used like 6-7% of our batteries. So we we started up like 71, and we ended up with like 64 or 65, something like that.
So wait, some of the competitors had to recharge on their way to the testing center because they couldn't drive all the way. We did it and still had room to spare.
So that was awesome. But the best part was, we took it around, we did some brake tests, we're just kind of easing into it. And he's like, all right. So then he took it on the track, and they have a vehicle following us to make sure, if we're in any problems with fire extinguishers and recovery gear and whatever else is on the vehicle. And they're in contact with walkie-talkie. So he clips the walkie-talkie to the visor, and he's like, all right, so let's see what it does. And he hammers on it. And the walkie-talkie flew right off of the visor and hit Ray in the back seat, flew all the way to the back seat. And I kid you not, he laughed for about 30 seconds. He's just like, oh, and I wish I could have recorded that. The first reactions of that torque without the drive shafts, it is awesome. And I don't know if you guys saw the video that we did last week. We just released it last Sunday. Was us pulling the semi truck with the Land Cruiser, and I did that on purpose. I'm like, if I'm gonna break it, I want to break it before it goes to testing. These are homemade axles. We got the shop in town that could maybe pump out another one in a week or so, delay that or whatever, for a pumpkin housing. But it held together, and that torque, man. I bet it's the talk of what they're testing for sure. We picked the right path to go. That's for sure.
I get the feeling we're gonna hopefully be moving on to the next stage of development for it.
But I know when Rich,
I do got a comment though on that video. Like, you just had to absolutely show us up on that. Like a year, what is it? Like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we go out to VNR. And they're like, look at our fancy truck. Because we had the same issue with Carl. The center-mounted motor to the drive shaft snapped U-joints, didn't really get the torque, didn't get the performance we wanted. We went with electric axles. I'm like, Rich, you've got to see Topsy. It's amazing. And then Rich is like, yeah, I'm going to do it in a pickup.
Yeah, a little itty-bitty pickup.
And not only that, but it was actually more, because he was not only towing the trailer with the tank, but he towed the truck as well.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He had to show us up, and he got a higher top speed than we did.
No way. So, he went faster than Tom.
He went faster than we were able to go.
That's irresponsible.
It was definitely an approved testing track. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if you would have had to.
Yeah,
that was a closed test course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
sure.
notified the local authorities. We closed the took
Flaggers.
training on how to do this.
You filled out a job hazard assessment form.
Yeah.
So if anyone hasn't seen that, it's called Testing the Land Cruiser the Only Way We Know How, and it's one of the last. It's the second to last released video on DeBoss's channel. So you guys got to see that. It is awesome. But we got to. Sorry, George. We got to, like you were saying, how you're something about breaking it. You got to talk about that. People are going to see it in the video.
So yeah. Again, it's like, okay, this truck has to be delivered. I think it was 2 days later. It might have been the next day. It was within 48 hours. This truck had to be delivered, and we're just kind of rushing this, right? So I called a couple buddies and said, hey, we're going to go to this road, this closed course road that was shut down by the local authorities, and we're going to test this truck. And they were professionals, but they weren't trained properly. Maybe I don't know. Regardless, I had a couple of buddies in the semi. One with his AZ, and he's a little more used to, you know, how the air brakes work compared to the like hydraulic brakes. I had a buddy sitting in the passenger seat with a walkie-talkie because we shut the Kenworth off, and that means we have no power steering either. So my buddy that was driving the Kenworth, he's rocket focused on keeping the truck straight and following the Land Cruiser without rear-ending the Land Cruiser either, right? So the point is that the Land Cruiser was going to pull my semi truck, the triaxle lowboy, and my tank on it, and then we were going to slow down with the semi truck and basically just let off on the Land Cruiser and slow down with the truck. We were going to do it both ways to prove, that we weren't just going down a hill. We wanted to pull it both ways. Get that nickel. and we put pails on the exhaust to prove that the truck was not running. So
I like that touch. That was
that was actually a really brilliant touch.
If anybody wants to say, you know what, this video is fake, then whatever, right?
No one's seen the hay burner exhaust out the bottom. But...
so
AI.
The road's about 3 kilometers long, so we figure, okay, if we do our test between mile 2 and about half a kilometer in to about 2.5 kilometers in. Does that make sense? We were going to pull it for about a kilometer and then have a kilometer on either end to slow down again, and then be able to turn around and do the test that way again too. So we set up pylons and this is about a kilometer, and we'll see how fast we can get it going to that in that time span. Unfortunately, didn't realize that by about 500 meters in, we're already doing 50 kilometers an hour. We're gaining speed, and now it's starting to get it's getting kind of squirrely because the truck is just pulling, right? And what was happening was there would be little pieces of gravel on this test course, and the tires would hit the gravel, and they would chirp loose. So we're pulling 92,000 pounds. The truck weighs just over 7,000 pounds. The Land Cruiser, and there's 4 guys in there that were all over 200 pounds each.
I think it needed that for traction for sure.
We needed that for traction. So as we're driving, you can hear the tires chirp. They'd hit this gravel, and it would just kind of bite and then chirp. And Keaton's watching all the data on the laptop, and he's like, there's something funny going on with the axles. We're getting a high load and then no load, and high load and then no load. He's like, you might want to back off. And he said it in kind of like a worried voice. So rather than me walkie-talkieing the cab and saying, okay, put the brakes on a little bit, slow us down, I just let off ever so slightly. But imagine the truck now it went from 92,000 pounds to 0 pounds. So it just backed right off. So then the chain started going slack. So then my buddy in the cab with the walkie-talkie goes on the walkie and says, go, like it's going slack. So go. So I try to ease into the throttle again.
You can't ease with that thing.
As my buddy puts the brakes on, and it sheared 6 bolts right out of the frame. and ripped the whole bumper off. Yeah,
Like didn't even really. It pulled them like out the.
It pulled them 90 degrees out of the frame. Like it's pretty bizarre what it did. They were all fine thread grade 8 bolts, and then to top it off, it was a really nice bumper. The Kenworth drove over the bumper with the steer tires, both drive tires, and then the first side trailer axle that was stuck between the two axles. No damage to the bumper whatsoever. It was a very well built bumper.
I was there when
get any comments on that when you went to go drop it off at the customer and the bumper ran over.
There's tire marks on it.
I had to. So now the truck is being delivered the next day, and it's like 2 a.m, and I got to deliver this truck. Right, this bumper needs to go back on again, and it's like a C that goes around the frame at the back. And it was bent a little bit, so I bent it with a pipe wrench, and then I could get the one side holes bolts in because I had to drill the threads out and then put a nut on the top and bolt that side. But the other side didn't quite want to go in, so I did the only thing that a reasonable person at 2 a.m. would do when it's meant to be delivered at 6 a.m. and just backed into a tree nice and hard.
Nice.
got it to seat, lined up all the holes. It's a little bit of touch-up paint. They didn't notice. Like it is a very well-built bumper.
So, all right, here's your custom-built Edison truck.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want to explain though that basically this truck is going to this test facility to be broken. They are going to test this thing until it breaks. It has to do a minimum set of requirements, and then they're just going to keep upping the bar to see where this truck is going to let go. So it is going to look, it is going to be covered in mud, it's going to be covered in salt, it's going to be covered in water, it's going to be covered in snow, and this is nothing. The scratches on the bumper and it not fitting right is just the start of what this truck is going to do. And again, this is not a highway truck. This is not going on the road. This is a truck that's going to be abused in a work setting, and that's why we were able to do this. We
literally bought this truck to destroy this truck for learning more about hybrids. The customer literally has bought this to learn as much as they can and work with us to develop improvements based on this testing.
They gotta be loving us so far then if it's doing this good. So
Chase and I were also there when the customer gave us their custom bumper. He was like, they're like, here's this beautiful bumper. Please install this and
please put this on the truck.
Yeah, they're like, we would really like this bumper on the truck. We love this bumper. This is the one thing that we are giving you to put on the truck.
I know why they love the bumper, because you can drive over it with a semi-truck and it doesn't get damaged.
It checks out. I'm not saying that's a bad bumper. It's just like it's a, I don't know. It's, I guess technically this was the third truck delivered to a customer. And the third truck delivered to a customer already has a Carfax report on it to a collision.
Here's the cool thing, though. We built the truck in a time frame that they asked for, and the only way that we could do that is with the solid axle that we built at home. Because the truck is so small, the clearances are like, there are no clearances. That's the problem with this truck. So they said we see that, and if your tech is what we hope it is, then we can make recommendations on how to overcome all of these issues, whether that's an independent suspension or whatever that is. So this is version 1, but I'm so excited about what version 2 is going to look like and everything that truck is going to be able to do. Because keep in mind that this is an open diff. This is just a single motor hanging out the back of this axle. It's way too heavy. It's way too far back. And if we're able to continue working with these guys, they're going to really fast track this, the new design, which is going to be motors inside the axle tube itself. So it'll look like a swelled out kind of tube, but 2 motors, and that version is going to do so much more than this first version that we're going to be embarrassed about this truck in a matter of years. So
well, it's going to be really, the same way excited. As Topsy is. Yeah. If you look at Topsy, be Carl version 0, Topsy version 1.
Yeah,
the pickup trucks were really version 1.5, whereas the undisclosed truck and the MCon truck are kind of version 2 of the semi. The pickup design came in between Topsy and between the finalized version of the semi trucks. So the pickup truck is really at 1.5. Now the next version through our customer's assistance is going to be like 2.5 of the next gen semi truck.
Yeah. One other thing that Rich really needs credit on for this is when they came to us with this idea that they want to build, we're like, nope, can't be done. And we're like, that we're not to be able to do that. It's not going to work. You can't fit it in. And then they're like, do it. And then fucking Rich is the man for the job.
Yeah, they literally phoned me like 4 times saying, can we do this? Can we do this? I'm like, no, it can't be done. No, it can't be done. No, it can't be done. And they're like, fine, you need to fly down here right now. I'm like, I don't want to fly down. They're like, just send someone else. I'm like, Rich, Ray, what are you guys doing? You want to go meet a customer? And Ray's like, no, that's stupid. All right, fine, I'll do it. And then like still thought it was impossible. Rich was like, no, guys, don't worry. We don't need CAD. We don't need anything. He's like, I can make this work. And it came down to credit card fitment.
No, it came down to CAD. I used cardboard aided design to build basically everything. And basically, I took the track bar in the front, or I think it's a sway bar. Basically, I put a piece of cardboard in between the sway bar and the oil pan, bumped the oil pan up to the cardboard, and then welded the mounts in place. And like that's where it's going to be. And then like the batteries to the back of the generator. I think I used 2 pieces of cardboard and just kind of, just bump.
Wow, really generous up. There. 2 pieces.
That's where it's going to be, and it just fits there. But I do think that if we did that one in CAD, they would basically say it's not going to work. There's no possible way. And when the truck was in Golden and we were running the high voltage wiring and that, a couple times, like I seen them do the loop slightly different than the way I had it ran. I'm like, guys, no. Like it has to be exactly the way that I had it, or it will not fit. And I shit you not, it's not going to fit. But the nice thing is too, though, now that we're proceeding, we're already losing components. So the motor controller that is a separate box for the generator. In the next version, it's already built into the generator, and it's a lot smaller, less cooling lines because it's all already in the generator. The motor controller for the axles as well, we can build that into the axles themselves. Less cooling lines for that. It's a whole other box that we don't have to use. And if we open up some of the boxes that we had, a lot of them is empty space. So even though it fit in this one, it's going to look so much better in the next version. So as we're progressing, things are already getting smaller.
You got a question here, Rich. Do you think that the limits of the pickup EV hybrid kit would be best to test in a racing environment, off-road track, custom modification required? And sorry for being a brainstorm slave driver.
No problem, Chris. Absolutely. It has me a little bit worried because like I drove, it hit me about 4 months ago. The neighbor had a F-150 Lightning. And he's like, here, let me take it for a drive for a bit. And I took my daughter for a drive. And when I stomped on it, she couldn't get her head off of the headrest. Like there's so much torque there that you can't get your head off of the headrest. And then I thought, holy crap.
You're out of power though in that one application though.
So we're building these vehicles that are basically going to do the same thing, if not more. Mm-hmm. And what that does is stress these vehicles to the limit. And even when we tested the LC on the dyno, the limiting factors were tires. And as we sell trucks, we really should be buying stock in tire companies because we're going to go through so many more tires because you don't realize that even if you're not squealing or breaking loose and doing burnouts, you're still transmitting all of that torque through the tires, right? And we might have to detune our vehicles just to keep them.
You can't say the word detune. No.
I'm just saying, like winter driving conditions and that, you'd step the throttle and all of a sudden you got tires breaking loose because you got all that torque that you never had before, right?
Sounds like a fun time to me.
Yeah, sounds great.
You have a really good example of just the tire wear that can put out. Why don't you tell everybody about the dyno? The dyno test.
Me?
Yeah. Well, you're.
Yeah.
Were we at the dyno experience?
I don't know.
I watched the video.
Yeah. So we put the truck on the dyno. So that was the first test into making sure that all the bits were gonna stick together, right? What we were trying to do was warm up our batteries enough so that we could get the chiller to come on and ensure that we're able to cool our batteries down as well. So we took it to an all-wheel drive dyno, and basically with it chained down and tied down in 6 different ways, front and back, we were able to, in a controlled environment, just check on temperatures, listen to any noises that we're making. Because remember, we made these axles ourselves, right? So we wanted to make sure there's no bearings that are binding, that, you know, the axle tubes were actually straight to each other, that nothing was getting hot. So while it was running and being loaded down, I had my infrared gun, and I could make sure that all the temperatures were good. We could bring it to top speed without any danger of, you know, steering or the alignment being off or the brakes sucking or whatever that might be. And it did really, really good. So here we are trying to load this thing down. He had 4,000 foot-pounds of rolling resistance on the dyno to try and slow these axles down. But all we did was end up overheating our tires. Our tires were hitting about 180 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit on the top, and we had to stop. It raised the battery temperature about 3 degrees Celsius. So the chiller didn't even come on because it was about 16, 17 inside the building. So they went up to about 18, 19 degrees, and then that was it. So the tires were the limiting factor for that. We didn't want to have a blowout because that would have been detrimental right before we left. So we had to call it quits there. But the tires are going to be the factor.
That is
now.
wild, though, that the limiting factor in that test is the tires.
Yeah.
You're
Pretty
underselling
crazy.
it. You're underselling it because there was a pile of rubber behind the dyno. That's like,
there was rubber under the dyno, in front of the dyno, and behind the dyno. Like it was just chewing the and not burnouts. We weren't slipping. We strapped this thing so tight to the dyno. And keep in mind, it weighs 7,000 pounds. So it's not like a race car where it's like 2,000, 3,000 pounds and you have trouble keeping the downforce. It is heavier because of the batteries, and it's a well-built truck. There's a lot of steel on that truck. So yeah, there was rubber everywhere. And he said flat out, his website has a Lamborghini on the dyno. And he said this has more than triple the torque of anything that he's ever tested before.
Triple the torque of the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
I gotta tell my son that he's gonna lose his mind.
Well, I
So,
mean,
yeah,
you
no,
just
it
look
was,
at how it pulled the semi truck. It pulled it the same as what? That thing's got a 400 Cummins in it.
It's got a
K100?
3406B with the
Oh, never
425
mind. Okay.
pump.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So a 3406 Cat, and
Yeah.
the Land Cruiser pulled the same basically as the 3406 Cat.
Yeah. And
That means that our pickup truck in version 1 with only 1 motor per axle, and now we're doubling it to 2 motors per axle like the semi truck. Version 1 with 1 motor per axle pulls the same as a 3406 Cat in a Kenworth.
That's crazy. Like, that is crazy to think that you
I
start
feel
off
like
with a
this
Kenworth with 3406 and a little
This is
pickup truck.
why I'm like,
That is
electric
wild.
makes sense. Like, this is why it's like electric kicks ass, because you can have a Toyota Land Cruiser that can pull the same as a 3406 Cat.
Don't tell
Yeah.
a boomer that. Oh, electric. Don't tell any boomers this information. They won't listen.
keep in mind too that the 3406 has 8 tires pulling, whereas the Land Cruiser only has 4 little BF Goodrich's pulling that thing. And I could have went faster, but like I said, I just didn't have enough traction to keep it going. But so people said, big deal. once you get it moving.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so some of the comments were like, big deal. Once you get it moving, it's fine. That's the biggest resistance, and then you go. But we had it up to 46 kilometers an hour, and under half a kilometer. Like that's the impressive part right there, that we had to back off. We had to shorten the track because we would have been going 100 by the time we would have hit a full kilometer. And that's the key point. Without the batteries getting warmer, and without anything overheating, like that was what did it right there. So,
and you also had a blown turbo. Like you had a blown turbo and still pulled 100,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about that, but
we can get back to that.
Yeah.
But Wildly Coyote says maybe you need to add a temperature sensor on your kits so you don't have blowouts. Like, maybe that's something to think about, like in the future when they get out there. Like if we're gonna be pounding through that way.
Just for the silly stuff we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we did have a turbo. It was a brand new motor, and the turbo failed on it, annoyingly enough. Like the only breakdown, realistically, we had it during the testing was the mechanical part on the diesel engine.
You should verify, like that wasn't our motor either. That was a supply.
No,
that wasn't our fault.
Yeah.
No.
Rich, what happened there again? Exactly. I guess you could.
Yeah. So
he's disappointed now. He's sighing. He's like, I didn't want to talk about this.
So we did record that. We had the generator working, and the engine runs. They supplied us this engine, and it was a new motor, but it had some. I think it came out of another project that they also beat the crap out of for a while. And it wasn't like 0.6 hour where they fired up a Cummins to make sure it's got oil pressure and there's no coolant in the oil. It had like 20 or 25 hours on it. So what happened was we never ran this engine. I got it. I unhooked the bell housing. I put the number 3 bell housing on it, and there was a little bit of stuff in the oil. And I showed the customer. I'm like, there's like, it's not like glitter, but there's something in the oil.
It's not glitter, but there's a shine. So what is it? But
it could have been wearing in. When an engine is freshly new, that the pieces are finding their place. You are shaving to a degree, thousands of inches of clearance between rings and pistons and bearings and all that. So they're like, yeah, no, we're not concerned about that. Put it together. So we put it together, and I never heard it run. So then we ran into a problem where it's like, oh shoot, like it's loading. It would idle fine, purred like a kitten when it was idling. The mounts were nice and steady. It was nice and smooth. Then when we put the load on it from the generator, it wouldn't rev up fast enough. It would we could get it up to about 2,200 RPM. This engine should go well over 3,000 RPM. Well, we tested the 2.8 in the Ram on the dyno with the manual transmission. It went to 3,200, no problem, and it sounded like a sewing machine between 2,200 and 2,500 RPM.
Who's got talking in the background there? Sorry.
Chase, tell those guys to shut up.
Yeah, sorry, we're picking it up. My bad. Sorry to cut you off, Rich. Just
sorry. Engineer's just working in the shop. Sorry, I'll stay on mute until I need to say something.
we did. Are you gonna elaborate there or keep going? Because we did have a question for you, Rich.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I'll elaborate real quick. So when we fired the engine up, it would smoke like crazy. But we had to send the kit out to them, and we diagnosed it as a turbo. Now, to make sure that it wasn't like our generator binding or something on our generator side, what I did before I left is I fired up the Ram with our generator on it, the exact same carbon copy design, same drive plate, same bell housing, same generator, and it revved up to 3,300, no problem. Sang like a sewing machine. So it wasn't our side of things. It wasn't the generator doing something stupid or running backwards, trying to turn the engine the wrong way while the engine's turning the other way, things like that. So we put the turbo on, and we didn't have enough time to get the turbo on. They're putting the turbo on, and we'll hear from them to make sure that's what it was.
That's awesome, especially that it wasn't anything in our control. Rich,
it's still cool that.
Rich had a question. Any thoughts on a militarized version?
Yeah, that's You know what? Maybe someday. That's
Someday.
we see the perks of it. We just got to get in touch with the right people, right? So, yeah, if you guys know anybody there, then shoot us their message. We'd love to have
If Rich goes missing for 6 months, they got to get hold of the right people. So.
Right.
I'm
That's usually
still
how that goes.
trying to get a hold of Kim Jong-un to really sell this technology.
God. Man, you know what they did to Sweden though? In like the 70s, they ordered like a million, not a million, like 100,000 cars off them, never paid them.
Yeah, the Volvos, right?
The Volvos, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Really not
Yeah,
entirely
Sweden's
sure
out a
that if
bunch
I
of
got
money
an
in that.
order for 100,000 Land Cruisers from North Korea that I'm betting the farm on that order. It's actually funny. I have paperwork that says I'm not allowed to sell any vehicles to North Korea from some of our suppliers.
You know
the
what?
suspension society.
I'm with them.
You're not allowed to sell our suspension to Iran or North Korea. And I'm like, those were my top customers.
Yeah.
I'd love to get into like the Canadian military a little bit more. I think that like it does have some cool applications of like even like the amount of disaster relief. You have a generator that you could bring out when power goes down. You have a wildfire or a massive flood. That Land Cruiser could drive to the site and then power things there. Like emergency response, all the extra power equipment. It would be kind of cool.
Oh yeah, there's such a market for that, I think, for sure. Because like even the Manitoba fires this year, like we struggled with it in Saskatchewan too. It's just so much. If all those trucks up there had generators on them, that would have helped them immensely. But we're not there.
Because otherwise, they need the generators. Otherwise, they have to haul their generator. So
well, they're pulling around light plants constantly. They got semi trailers going up full of light plants to power things. Then you got to run all that logistics around. But all these pickup trucks are going there anyway. Might as well just be same.
So it makes sense. We'll see.
Yeah, we are going to try and go. Got invited down to Kansas, Canadian thing. They're like, bring a truck down to the Canadian show in Ottawa.
That kind of goes with Mr. Steelio Blocks. He said you might know some vehicle tech army guys in Ottawa. There's
Oh man, reach out.
We're open to any names. Send them to me at rich@edisonmotors.ca.
So what is CanSec there, Chase?
It's basically a trade show for Canadian stuff. It's a trade show for the Canadian military. Basically, people show off and try and sell it. I would like to sell the BDE and especially like the hybrid because guess what? The hybrid for the Canadian military doesn't need Environment Canada approval. The Canadian military doesn't need to be ECCC compliance. So we could start building these for the military, and then I don't have to worry about it, and I can still build my hybrids. That being said, a little update on that. We might as well go into that. That's a natural segue. Eric was in Ottawa, and we had some pretty good meetings on that. We've heard some feedback. They are really moving the hybrids ahead now. We have a clear path forward that's actually written out in an email saying what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, how they're going to implement it, and how they're hoping to get it done sometime early next year, hopefully, fingers crossed. So we are getting a lot more concrete than just we're definitely going to do something. They told us we're definitely going to do something, and now we've heard this is what we're probably going to do.
I love in your TikTok the picture of Eric in the background. He's mid-sentence, and I'm like, perfect one. He's like talking in there. Poor guy. Yeah, that's the one you got.
I love the feedback. It's like you watch the video, everyone else wearing suits.
Yeah.
And Eric's just in there in plaid the way Edison does it. And I literally had one of the members of parliament there send me a message and be like, we love that Eric was wearing plaid. They're like, you guys, we really appreciate how you guys are just genuinely yourselves all the time.
Good. Never change.
Man, Mr. Steely Blocks.
Are you allowed to say like what that path is, like what they put down, or are you just holding back on that for a bit?
I don't know if we're allowed to say it because it was shared in an email, not a public document, and they haven't said it. So unless somebody says, "Hey, we're comfortable you saying it," I'm just gonna. I don't like putting words in people's mouths.
Plus, things are going smoothly.
It makes people nervous to share things with us in the future. If I'm like, get too excited, I'm like, they said they're going to do this exactly. And then for some reason it doesn't work out. It can make them look bad. And then that makes them leery to share things. So it's a balancing act. I find mentally in myself that I balance. Like I hate how I have to do it because I have cool information on customer projects or these regulatory things or something
It is crazy
else.
how much stuff that we have is kind of like secret, maybe don't talk about. And then we do a live podcast. It's like, what if something slips out?
Well, I mean, we do try and watch it, and Darren does have to edit the odd thing out of a podcast before it gets posted publicly. So some people that tune into the live version get things that shouldn't be said, but
Mr. Steely
I don't
Block
think we've had
says-
any too serious ones.
Nothing serious yet.
Not that I haven't cut out. This Silly Block says these trucks would be way better than the international Navistar garbage that we had when I left the Army in 2020.
Yeah.
I would imagine that. That is my only concern about military contracts is they go to like the lowest common bidder.
Yeah, if they're doing that, they're not going. Go on, come on.
We build quality trucks, not
exactly.
max forces. But that being said, I'm hoping with Canada they're trying to buy more Canadian trucks, so it's like
we're the only ones.
We're the only hybrid truck manufacturer. Who else are they going to?
Yeah, that's also why
that was even cool. One of the things that I guess I probably could talk about in it is that they said politically this is a really great time for Scania right now because while Eric was in Ottawa, the ambassador to Sweden and one of the Swedish royal family members was there because Sweden's trying to get really, really closer ties to Canada because Saab was trying to move their fighter jet production to Canada. They're trying to sell Canada on buying more Sweden stuff. They're trying to focus on more things. And like Saab, the same place that makes the fighter jet, Saab is who makes our frame rails. So like our frame rails come from Saab, that's Saab steel. Our engine Scania from Sweden. So it's like we have a bunch of Swedish parts in our Canadian built truck that's hybrid. And it's like it was just amazingly perfect timing. The coincidence could not work out any better that Eric was in there being like, let me use this Swedish motor in my truck. Meanwhile, the ambassador.
There's a royal in the background, like, I like this guy.
Eric got to meet with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Development, the senator in charge of Foreign Affairs Canada, while he was meeting with Sweden. It's like he's like, let me put a Swedish engine in my truck, and they're like, we're talking with Sweden about this right now.
That's
so it was an easy win politically. So I think it's probably, hopefully, it's going ahead pretty quick.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Rich, when you first joined this,
one hand and the other, see what fills up first.
When you first joined this journey, did you think you were gonna have to deal with politics as much as you had so far?
So it's funny because that the Swedish fighter jet kind of came into this because I joined this because I read the book on the Avro Aero when in the 50s Canada built a fighter jet that was decades ahead of the rest of the world, and I watched the movie on CBC when I was a kid. I read the book when a couple years ago, and I thought, you know what? The YouTube was fantastic, and I love the job, and I'm going to keep that going as long as I possibly can. But I do want to sit down with my grandkids, 20, 30 years from now, and tell them, I was a part of something cool, and YouTube was great. It was cool, but we're just building. We're building cool vehicles, but they really don't benefit anybody except for motivating some people to get out in the shop and work on stuff. And I thought, man, if I could go back in time and work on the Avro and say, you know what, I was part of that team. I built the landing gear for that, or I helped us reach Mach 3 before anybody else, or whatever that was. And I think that right now that Edison is that thing. And it's super cool because in my shop at home, it's just me. I'm building, whatever I feel like doing. Part of our trips, part of YouTube was we went to Africa and did a safari. We record it and get paid for that. But there's really it's very straightforward. I build what I want. I do it when I want. And nobody argues with me. But now that we're with Edison, it's not just building trucks. And honestly, building the trucks is almost the easy part. It's being a part of something so much bigger. You got to deal with politics. You got to deal with people that you don't necessarily like in the company, but they have a skill set that is needed. So you got to figure out how to get along with these people. You know, welders are getting along with engineers, are getting along with programmers, getting along with truckers, getting along with HR, getting along with accounting, and somehow figuring this all out. And it's a complicated scenario. We're a young company. We're starting out. We're figuring this out. But I'm really enjoying every aspect of it, like meeting with these customers, going to this test facility to check out the Land Cruiser, going to Ottawa, being invited in Ottawa, and to sit down in the House of Commons and talk about, you know, we're doing something that is reaching a larger audience than we thought we would ever even get to, right? And that whole experience is just, I can't wait to see what's happening in the next 5 years, because the way it's been rolling, it hit me. My dad is a pretty quiet guy, and I invited everybody. I invited my whole family to Ottawa when we went for those preliminary meetings, and we're sitting on Capitol Hill having lunch, and my wife and kids are there, and my dad's there, and Chase was there. And my dad didn't really say a whole lot the whole time. He's 77 now, somewhere around there. And he pipes up and says, 2 years ago, you guys met at a scrapyard in Smithville, and here you are sitting on Parliament Hill. And I'm like, holy cow, that was 2 years. Just imagine, you know, what we're going to be doing in 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now. Maybe, you know, maybe we'll get into politics and realize, you know, maybe we need to, you know, fix some of this stuff. We see some of the deficiencies as blue collar guys, as self-employed guys that have worked for other people, and who knows where we're going to be. It's gonna, but I'm enjoying the ride, and I'm loving every minute of it.
It's been a pretty incredible journey, and really enjoy working with everyone.
Yeah.
After like witnessing yourself coming from your background of the crazy conversion, big ass diesel, coal rolling, speed, power, torque kind of background, would that like Land Cruiser actually did it? Where you're like, okay, yeah, I feel a lot more confident now. Like
I'm an electric guy.
So it's funny. I'm not an anything guy. I'm if it's cool, I love it. And you know what? Some days I think I want to drive in my cat swapped F350 and, you know, feel listen to that hum, the sound that's coming out of that as I'm pulling a trailer and sitting up nice and high. The next day I'm going to go in my truck that's slammed on the ground with an LS in it and hear that noise. Some days I'm going to have a hangover. I'm going to go in the Ram and not listen to a single noise and be nice and quiet as I appreciate all the builds. So
I think that's one of the things that yeah, I think that's honestly one of the key things to Edison's success. When you look at the fundamental picture of us and our ethos is like, we're not diehard EV. This is the only way it needs to be done. It's electric. It's this. We're not diehard anything. We're not diehard 18-speed trucks are the answer and nothing but an 18-speed and a diesel, not diehard. It's like, we like things that we like. We like things that make good common sense. And that's one of the things that most of these startup companies are missing. They're drinking the Kool-Aid of whatever they're pushing. And we're not that. It's if a better thing comes along, we'll embrace it.
Yeah. Well, even like the BD is an excellent example of that. Like, hey, we have customers that just like what we're doing. They believe in us. They believe in that we don't want to use crappier parts. We want to use the best parts, make the toughest trucks. They might not want electric, but they want us and what we do. So we're going to fill that slot.
I love an 18-speed. Like, don't get me wrong. Every single thing is better about a hybrid. The torque, the power, the fuel savings, but God, do I love the feel of shifting gears. That it's old fun. Mechanical Cummins, just the smoke billowing out, like the Jake brake coming on. Yep. It's objectively fun. Mm-hmm. I like them both. Anyways, Darren, you gotta
Reed had a comment there, and this is kind of the summary of it at the end. I put it up here, and he's wondering, like, can you put a kill switch on the batteries to make it so that if they were full, you would still be able to operate the generator only on site? Would that just be a programming?
Why would you want that?
No,
I
mean,
because
you
it would be
could.
if your batteries are already full and you need to run the generator to keep doing whatever you're doing with the generator, like powering a thing, doing a tool, running a PTO.
Well, it goes through the battery. So like the battery is what takes the power out of it.
But say like
Yes,
your
well, there
battery
is a
was
shunt to
off.
go to run the generator. Like we have ran things off the generator and disconnected the battery. So like we did that with Topsy in one of the testing where we disconnected all the batteries and ran the generator and still ran everything off just the generator with the batteries disconnected. So yes, you can do it. We didn't think of a reason why you would want that, so we haven't programmed it in. But yeah, in theory, you should be able to do it. It would take a little bit of programming to put in the button and the kill switch, but it would work that way. We have tested it that way.
I think like that that'd be a good thing to have, because say you ran you were charging all day on site. You're just sitting there for like 12 hours running something periodically, and like your batteries would get full. So then you need to kind of disconnect your batteries so that they don't overcharge. Maybe I think that's maybe what he was looking for.
Well, you if you shut off the power to the batteries and you could still run the generator, yeah. And there is a shunt that bypasses the batteries. Like when you're drawing an electrical current, it will bypass the battery. So yeah, like you can do it. It's just I would prefer to run off the batteries. It's way more efficient because the odds of you taking the exact power requirements of that generator, like at 1700 RPM under full boost and taking that exact power load that you need, chances are if you're doing something like running a welder or an air compressor, the power is going to fluctuate up and down.
Load
so that the battery, like it's going to be a lot more efficient to use the batteries.
Right. So you just the generator would kick off, run your batteries, everything off the batteries till they're there. And then
the generator comes down. So yeah, running external power, you would run everything off batteries. It tops the batteries up to 80%. It stops charging at 80%. And then it drops down to like 30, 40%. And then when it hits 30, 40%, the generator cuts back in. I mean, we do have also a manual mode that you can tell that generator to just stay running and keeping the batteries topped up.
So there you go. There you go, Reed. That was your question answered.
We were also talking about leaving everything open source. If you want to program something into it, or you find something that our engineers haven't thought of and you guys like more, like I take it as like the LS. I don't know if the engineers back in the late 90s when they designed a 5.3 and a 6 liter were ever going to realize that a bunch of backyard kids were going to hack their computers and figure out how to make 1,000 horsepower out of an engine that was designed for 250 with a turbo or a blower, and go streaming around the drag races with these engines, if they even knew that was possible, right? And I think with our open source, we're like, if you guys want to design this thing into it, like there will be warranty issues with that. But if you want to take it and modify it so that it's better, and then share that with the world, it's like, hey guys, if you do this, you can increase power, or you can increase efficiency, or you can, if you try this instead of that, if you run it this way, like that's the nice thing with YouTube and having all of the people behind us as well. It's not just our crew of people that have our ideas, and like we said, this is what you get, deal with it, and we're going to lock you out, and if you want us to fix it, or if you want to fix it, you have to call us. It's like, here, see what you guys think. Like what's your ideas? That's why we're giving these trucks to customers before we write it in stone and build 1,000 of these things, right? Tell us what you think. Like, that was a good idea, that wasn't a good idea. We need this extra thing, or have you thought about this? Like, no, actually, we haven't thought about that. Like the concrete companies too, right? We never even thought about that. It's the concrete companies came out and said, you know what? If you can, we have to shut down our pours when we want to do 24-hour pours because of noise violations, and it costs us so much money to level off the concrete, stop and start everybody again at 7 a.m. If we can bring our trucks in on silent and plug the pumpcrete truck into the grid and unload our trucks silently, and then hit the highway again, turn on the generator and recharge the batteries while we're getting loaded again. We don't care about fuel efficiency. We don't care about the cost of the kits. We don't care about the environment. To be honest, we just care that we can save millions of dollars every year by not shutting down the pour. And we're like, holy crap, like, that makes total sense. And more of these companies are starting to come out of the woodwork where it's like, hey, it's actually a really good fit for this.
Well,
Like,
I think people appreciate how much we want to work with them as a customer, because you look at companies like cutting out, they're just sending out these cookie cutter trucks, not paying attention, where like a company like Tiger Cat used to buy Tiger Cat. I think Chase, you told me this, the owner would come out and say like, what do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Like he'd meet everyone who bought a machine, the owner would go out and meet them. Like that's what we want to do with everyone. We want the input. We want to work with them.
Well, that's exactly where I'd like to get to in this company. Like, I'd love to be able to get out of the office. I hate office work so much. Oh my God, do I hate organizing things.
Chase needs to get more trucks out there just so he can go around to each customer all year.
That literally, we're like, oh, I guess I gotta go log in today. I guess I'm going rig moving. I've just got to get that customer feedback.
Yeah.
Like, Pacific Trucks is also really good at that.
Mm-hmm. Super good at that. Super good at that.
I have a giant transition. It's not even like an Edison conversation, so a huge transition. It's a Rich question. Are we okay with that, or we want to stick with some Edison chat here?
Go for it.
No, go for it to discuss this.
We're getting to the hour mark, so I'm like, we're getting to the later end of it anyway. But I want to talk to Rich. The first video I kind of seen of Rich and kind of brought me his channel was the runaway scream in Detroit. Yeah. Now, that video is hilarious. I loved it. When that motor started to run away in that first clip, how scary is that? Through the microphone and the camera, I feel it in my chest, and I got scared. I put my phone away from me watching it. How scary was that being right there?
That's because there's a point. I don't know if you guys have ever had like a fire in the shop where there's like something's on fire and you're like, okay, it's under control, but in like 4 seconds, it's not going to be in control. Like that's the point of no return, right? And it's kind of the same with that engine. There's like, okay, there's like top RPM, but once it goes like above top RPM,
you're done.
It's like you got to run. Like there is no safe way, and it's hard to explain when you've got 16 cylinders that are just like screaming out of control right beside you. It like the vibrations, not even the noise, it's the vibration. Like there's like this hum.
You'd feel that,
of energy. It's like right there.
Yeah,
it's pretty scary. So like I don't even know what I was thinking at the time. I managed to shut it off. It wasn't.
I was impressed. I was so impressed. Have you guys seen that video, Chase? Darren, have you guys seen it?
I have not.
You gotta watch it. Pull up on your phone quick. Runaway, Screaming Jimmy with DeBoss. But yeah, you backed off for a second, which is what I would have done. But then you went back in, and I'm like, that's crazy. I would have been gone. I would have been down the block.
So my buddy that was helping me, he was halfway down the driveway. He's like, I'm out. Yeah, like I'm gone. Screw you, Rich. Like whatever. I'm not getting paid enough for this.
It is a crazy. I couldn't believe you did that. And did you even have earplugs or anything in for that?
No, well, I wasn't expecting it to start.
Fair enough.
So on that note, we need some votes as to you have that Nikola truck, right? Right, Chase?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what are your plans with the Nikola truck? Like maybe
Screaming Jimmy?
Well, you should ask that. Because you're pretty heavily involved in those plans. So we have been debating, and like I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments for those watching the video. But we thought, well, we could retrofit it to be electric, but then you're like, wow, like everything is so locked down under Nikola, we'd have to gut it. And you're like, Nikola doesn't deserve Edison. Like Nikola does not deserve an Edison kit. But hold on. What if we fix this truck to get it working? What I want to do is I want to get a 3408 Cat, big old V8 diesel Cat, drop that under the hood, 18-speed transmission, and then take that Nikola truck, basically get it running off a diesel with an 18-speed normal mechanical rear end. So, and then we will have probably the only remaining, at some point we'll have the only remaining Nikola truck on the road. And I think it would be just the greatest thing of like, Nikola, an electric American company, an American company building electric trucks, and the last Nikola on the road is a diesel truck in Canada built by Edison.
I like the vote idea because vote on the motor. I want a screaming slobbery Detroit in that thing. I think that would be.
I'm with George. 3408's cool.
It's a great engine, but we want
But like
oil
a
under that thing
V12,
all the time.
So it has to be
I
a V.
don't think
because
he'll
it's-
fit the V12 though. The V12 is just too long to fit in that.
He'll
Remember,
make
this is
it
a
work. He'll make
It's
it
a
work.
European
You know who you're talking
handover.
to.
It don't.
No, that's the whole point. Half the engine sticking out behind the cab. You're like, is that a 6-cylinder Detroit? No, the other 6 are under the cab.
You
It's
know
a
what the
V12.
What the fuck am I even talking about? Like,
Who are you talking
literally
to? You're
sitting
talking
here
to
being
Rich,
like,
man.
it won't fit. Rich
Yeah.
fit the fucking pickup kit into a Land Cruiser, and I'm here being like,
Yeah.
no, there's an extra 8 inches on the block, Rich.
Yeah,
And
that's too
why am I
much.
even arguing this? 12V Detroit.
Yeah.
Or like Rich's poor audience, like he developed his audience before getting involved with us, long before, and they were all used to certain content. So now that he's doing EV conversions on those couple pickups, there's a lot of like the diehard guys that aren't huge fans of what Rich
How
is
much would
doing
they
in
love
that
the
aspect.
opposite swap?
So the opposite swap, I guess it'd be like split 50-50 again, but it would be like one for the diehard fans.
Yeah.
And like maybe the EV guys would be like, that's still pretty sweet, but
Oh,
like
you gotta love
at
that.
least-
I
At least it's
honestly
one
think
for
we gotta have that as like the parts runner for like Edison delivery trucks.
Oh,
like obviously we'll use one of our
100%.
own, but like Edison, the last Nikola
A nice-
truck on the road is delivering
low boy
Edison
behind it.
trucks.
A
Yeah.
nice low boy behind it delivering your brand new EV to
Exactly.
your driveway, and
Yeah.
it shows
Everyone's
up with,
complaining we left
Nikola
oil in their
Fine.
driveway.
You know what, Rich? Go. Rich, find me a 12V 92 for sale. I will arrange the low bed. I'll throw
So
some
in.
axles on
So
it.
in.
We'll get this thing shipped over to you. And let when do you want to get started on this build?
Yeah. He'd
I got
start
rear
tomorrow.
ends. I got suspension. I got steer axles.
Yep. Send
Do
them.
it.
We'll get her together. So we are expanding the workforce here in Ontario. We're hiring more mechanics. We're looking
Nice.
at bigger shops. So it's not me doing all of this myself, or it won't be for too much longer. You know, focus on the Ram, get that together, and that one. The plan has been working out pretty well so far. Is that we bought a 32-foot Airstream. Did a little bit of restoration on that, put a new floor in it, built some benches in the front, got some wiring done. We're going to put a heater and an air conditioner in it this week just for everybody else who's coming. But Keaton and a couple other people have already spent some time in the Airstream. So while they're working on the LC and the Ram, they're doing the program, the stuff that I can't do. They're staying in the Airstream on site. They're invited into the house for supper, and we hang out and keep it kind of light, so it's not just 20-hour work days. And then the idea is that when the Ram is finished, we're going to be pulling this Airstream from Ontario all the way to British Columbia just to prove that the kit works. And again, engineers are great. It's nice seeing customers that are happy with the vehicles and making adjustments and that. But what we want to do is real world testing. So we also have that 2017 GMC. We also have a couple of fans that want to join us. So somebody's going to be joining us in a 6.7 Power Stroke, and they have the same size Airstreams as well. So we're going to try and keep the weight kind of similar, and we're going to do a convoy from Ontario to BC, and basically just show, is it a good setup? Is it not? Like, how much are the fuel savings? Are there fuel savings? Like, the nice thing is we'll be able to plug our stream into our Airstream into our truck, while the other two will have to find a campsite and plug in if they want, air conditioner and all that. That's kind of the perks on that. But is it going to excel in the city? Is it going to excel on the highway? What does that look like? And what can you expect when you buy one of our retrofit kits? So the nice thing is it'll be exactly apples to apples. It'll be the same weather. It'll be the same conditions. It's going to be the same wind. And at the end of the trip, we'll just say, here's what we found, and this is what real world testing looks like.
So what you're saying is that now that a bunch of engineers stay in the Airstream, it stinks.
Yeah.
So I have a cleaning service that comes in and cleans it. We
Nice.
might burn some of the sheets and just start over, but
There's a comment there, Theron. It's a little dark, but you want to highlight that one?
Which
The last
Oh,
one.
the Nikola
Oh.
fan.
Yeah,
it had on a spike.
pretty well.
Nikola
Blue
fan is like
sh-
wearing the skin of your enemy.
Blue
Yeah.
shot.
at least
Yeah.
we'll be warm.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, although, like, I'd probably have to run this idea past Eric. Like, somehow get it across the accounting desk of, like, hey, what's this 12V92 for?
You can get one for $40 and a pack of cigarettes. It won't be expensive.
I was looking it up while we were in this meeting right now. I found one for 19,000. Like, I feel like we could
there's
probably
gotta be
do 19,000. The
be
revenue off the YouTube videos will pay for that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we can always sell the truck when we're worst case. We sell the truck when we're done. Like, the
someone's
diecast
buying.
models paid for that. Like,
A diecast of the Nikola.
Hold on that on the diecast there. So this is the diecast again, and it's gonna be sold out by the end of
sold
tomorrow.
out. There's no way that they're not sold out already.
They're not. It slowed down today, so there are a few left. I just looked, and this is them. There, if you want one, get it fast. So they're like basically tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are gonna keep a few of them, a handful of them, only for purchase at the on-site merch store. So, but they're not going to be available online.
Whatever doesn't sell by the end of the day tomorrow, it's just merch store.
How many did you guys make?
We got 700 for sale. So I think we're
God.
we're past 600 now. So
we are past 600.
Right on.
No, that was in 3 days, 2.5 days.
don't worry, we've saved some for like all the employees and
damn.
some
Okay, then.
customers and
The diecast did pay for that engine. Then that's crazy.
They were crazy expensive to make though. Like the tooling on
No,
it's not,
100%.
they're not cheap.
100%.
Like,
they're definitely not cheap.
Well, they're well made. They're really well made.
11,000 for one in Ohio.
I see one for 11.5, and there you go.
That's a pretty good deal. 800 horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Bye.
I wish
That's
we could send
American,
links.
though.
Thanks,
That's
Taz. He's
American.
looking up engines for us.
Yeah, send some links.
I'm not like I was also sitting here in the meeting looking up engines. But like now that you said, like the one I found is just dynoed at 950 horsepower. Like, that's kind of sweet in a
It's pretty
Nikola
deadly.
truck.
It's pretty deadly. More horsepower
Like
than
we
it ever had.
set a heavy set rear ends. Like we could pull a set of trains with that. Like that being
I'd still
said,
get out-
too, I
But
do love the
honestly,
idea.
you'll still get outpulled by a Land Cruiser.
Still be outpulled by Land
Well,
Cruiser.
I want to be able to. I think we can make a little bit of profit off of the YouTube video. Like we can make some money off the YouTube with it, which means that if we cross the line of, I think it's going to be 20 grand for a motor, plus 10 grand for some other parts, and then plus the 2,500. So if we can make 30 grand off of the YouTube video, a few videos, and even just a couple of loads, we haul a couple of loads with it, couple loads of logs. It means that we could pay the truck off, which means that I think we will probably be one of the first people to pay a Nikola truck off because they were selling for like 700,000 US. I don't think any customer like got to the point where they ran it enough to pay for the 700,000 in the 2 years that they were on the road, unless they had a wicked good contract, which means that the most profitable Nikola truck ever made would be a Edison built Nikola with a 12V92. Like you got to admit that would be cool. Like the biggest profit ever made off a Nikola truck was on an Edison built one.
Oh yeah, no, people will love that. People love that.
We had, was there ever discussion about putting one of our production trucks in a loaded trailer pull drag race type event?
Why would we just go and win? We'd make them feel bad.
No, there has been. We've actually been invited to, what is the drag race at Notre Dame? Is that what it is?
Yeah, we're going to do that with the next fifth wheel truck. Every time that there's been a drag race, it's just been, it's kind of the shitty part is that all the truck drags are all in Ontario and Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need to set up an Alberta or BC.
You think Alberta would have one? Like all the big iron rolling around there.
Well, like why can't we do it here in Donald? Have a Donald truck days. Have a drag. We got the test strip and do some drag racing on the test strip.
You need it paved for that.
Yeah, once we get it paved.
Theron, I do think you missed another comment. We did talk about it already, but when they
which one
said $5.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I did miss that. Rich, why not try to EV hybrid and ambulance in the future?
We have talked about this quite a bit.
We have talked about this.
But-
We need to get miles under first before expanding to any emergency vehicles.
You know how many people
Yeah, I
died?
just
You know
I
how
won't
many
do
people
an
died
emergency
relying on
vehicle,
a
a fire
6'4"?
truck or anything.
What?
You know how many people died relying on a 6'4" power stroke in an ambulance?
Were they ever in ambulances? 6'4s were? That's crazy. That's crazy. I thought they were gassers in those ones.
There's enough ambulances with the 6'4s in there. I'm sure people died.
That's buffoonery.
So we
yeah,
kinda
no,
wanna-
we're not doing an emergency vehicle until like our trucks are getting millions of miles without a single. Last thing you want is somebody on their way to the hospital bleeding out, and you're like, hold on, a fault code.
I don't know. They trusted a 6'4 power stroke, so what? Guess they don't care.
Yeah, I
That's great.
feel like I'm smarter than the person. Like I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I'm smarter than the guy that's like, we should buy a 6'4" ambulance.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Tons of horsepower for 5
You should
seconds.
buy a 6'4" ambulance, and the windows taste delicious.
Cheap and
Oh.
bitter.
Ben Webb's upset. Hey, now I have a 6'4". They'd be nothing but great.
Ben, you're lying.
Yeah.
No, 6'4 is not the best motor, but yeah.
Okay. Were there any more questions on your list there, Jordan? I know you had some.
I was just gonna rant about random garbage, but I don't know if we want to get into that yet. If there's anything more
We
important,
should maybe talk about the incomplete chassis and what it looks like moving forward. I've done 2 of the conversions now, the Land Cruiser and the Ram, and it's an obscene amount of work to fit these kits in there. So Chase, you want to talk a little bit about the incomplete chassis and what that looks like?
Yeah, so now there's a regulatory issue that we can solve by this and an economics issue. So the amount of work that we've had to do when we were doing the math on it, like Rich, how many hours did you put into that, cutting all the frame rails, chopping, custom building everything? That unless you really want to keep your existing body, it is going to be actually cheaper if we just build basically a chassis platform where we have the electric skateboard for all intents and purposes. And it'd be a rolling chassis is what it's called. An incomplete chassis is what it's called under CMVSS. Because we found out in our CMVSS compliance thing that if we build a full semi-truck, we are licensed to commercial vehicles to build any commercial vehicle over 10,000 pounds. So we can build and rate this incomplete chassis for vehicles over 10,000 pounds. It will basically be a heavy 1-ton F350, F450 size chassis. We'll put the electric axles in it, frame rails, suspension, and then you take your truck body, pop it off, and then you put it on there. Now, that largely is compliance related because they had issues with us saying, hey, you know how you have that 30-year-old truck with the rusted out frame rails that was rated for 200 horsepower? Yeah, we're going to drop like 1,500 horsepower into that and send it down the road. Turns out the government said, no, you can't do that as a CMPS certified person. Like, you cannot do that unless you go through the full testing like it was a brand new vehicle on every truck. Now, if you do an incomplete chassis, it's on the dealer to then certify. They take an incomplete chassis, they drop the body on, they do the testing. Or if somebody buys it themselves, they don't need to do it. They can just drop it on, take the registration and do it. We recommend doing it, but they don't have to. And then once we do that, then we could always sell parts for the kit. So we could sell all the parts. So if somebody did want to take the parts and do their own playing around, they could order the parts. But likely we will be selling the pickup as an incomplete chassis. And then we'll have a bunch of different body mounts and everything. So if you have this cab, we'll just sell you the body mounts that adapt to it. You drop your body on it, plug it all in, and then you can roll your classic truck with the Edison retrofit.
I don't know why, like I know people are torn on it, but like it makes so much more sense because doing the swap, doing any conversion kit we would have offered, you're pretty much changing everything but the frame. It's like, okay, so what's the difference?
And you're even changing the frame, that's what we found with all these.
Changing everything. So it's like, okay, we have to just do the whole chassis. Like,
Rich, what are your thoughts on it?
So it solves quite a few problems because what I was imagining, if we were to take a truck and retrofit it, it's almost impossible to say who did the retrofit. And we're going to have really good installers, and we're probably going to have like a couple installers that are not as good as the rest. You guys have seen my quality of work. You guys have seen the projects that roll out of the shop. I take a lot of pride in making sure that everything is as good as I possibly can. I have a motto where it's like, any of my guys that work for me, it's like, are you proud of what you've done? Like, if you're not proud of it, I don't care that it's wasted time. Take it apart and do it again. And if we were to just retrofit trucks, there's nothing to say that, you know, Bob in the middle of nowhere bought the parts, put it all together, but did a really poor job of doing it, and it doesn't work. It constantly throws codes. It's that gets really frustrating. And then you're trying to sell these kits. Well, this Edison thing is a piece of garbage because it doesn't work. Well, it's not that. It's because you didn't install it properly. So if you're the second buyer, now these kits are not going to be, you know, 5-10 grand. You're going to have a significant investment in these kits. So if you were to buy this kit used off of somebody else, you want to know that you're getting a good product too. So if we do the incomplete chassis, we're going to be the only ones doing that chassis. We're going to be rolling them out in a production style, and you're going to know that you have an Edison kit that has been checked over, has a warranty on it, and you can feel confident that your frame rails are not rusted. You got a beefed up suspension. And you have a good kit. We're not going to stop anybody from building their own kit, but just realize that that's not like a full Edison built truck that is built by an installer or somebody who did it themselves. So it really solves that problem where we can say, yes, I'm confident in that kit. I'm confident in that truck. And we will stand behind that.
Yeah.
That also gives us a lot of opportunity to, you know, build the frame rails more to our liking, maybe widen them a bit, use the axles that we want, use the steering suspension and whatever that we want, the way that we feel trucks should be built. And
it also gives a lot of other options for other bodybuilders and equipment manufacturers, like people that build RVs could take that incomplete chassis and they could build an RV around. Oh, yeah, there's a question from Steve Nelson. He was just asking that. We could build the RVs on it. So it's they sell an incomplete chassis, they build an RV, they put a hot rod on it, and I think it's just going to ensure that we have the consistency and the quality that we're after.
Yeah. And there was sorry to cut in there, Rich, but there's another person just mentioned like, oh, you could put a 3/4 ton on top, like a Toyota Tundra. We're selling the complete chassis. You can throw whatever you want on top of it. Like,
yeah, you can throw a Civic on it for all we care. It doesn't matter. So
that would be weird. Don't do that, but you could.
No, but also if you do that, please send me a picture of that. You know what? It'll still have the pulling capacity of, well, basically above the Land Cruiser. So there will be somebody, like if we double the motors,
someone will do it. Someone will do it.
There'll be somebody that drops a Honda Civic onto that chassis and will be pulling a fully loaded train up a hill with their Honda Civic.
So. And the nice thing is, you know what, this is Edison. This is real world stuff. Like we did a real world build on 2 trucks. We have the data of like, this is how many hours, this is how many parts, this is what it took. Now I took the Ram to a little bit farther. We powder coated, we painted. That's going to be a show truck. That's going to be something I'm super proud of. Doesn't mean you have to do that. But and you can save a lot of money by not going to the full extent that we have. But now we have the data to say, you know what, this is how much it costs when we retrofitted an existing truck. This is how much we've got into a production style cab and chassis where we can pump them out in numbers, because the Ram is going to be different from the Ford, is going to be different from the Chevy, going to be different from the International 4900, whatever you want to convert, right? But we'll know that, you know, this is the rolling chassis. We stand behind it. We've tested. We've got thousands of hours of testing into this truck, and we're confident in this. So I think one thing that you didn't mention, Chase, is that if we were to retrofit trucks, we have to pass that CVMSS testing, which is months of testing. But if we do it in a 2020 F250 crew cab long box, even though it's basically the same as a extended cab long box, we would have to do all that testing again just because it's a different body style. So every make and model would have to go through months of testing for us to be able to do that. And these are things that we're figuring out like along the way. And that's, you know, we knew that was going to happen. So we come across a problem, we come across a solution, and the solution for us right now, it might not be the solution in 6 months from now, who knows? But the solution right now is the best economical thing is a cabin chassis.
So I just a question, because there's going to be not a lot. There's going to be 7, 8 guys that I wanted to do all of it myself. I want to build just a kit from scratch, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, if we have enough parts sitting on a shelf, would we just sell parts to people and say, hey, you can order whatever you want,
we would have
do
a
whatever
parts
you want?
thing. Like,
yeah.
And the upside to that is, I think I know a couple YouTube channels that can make really good videos on how to install these kits and what each part is and how to do it properly.
So like we won't sell, but like if you want to order this bunch of parts, you can just do it.
yeah.
We have no control over what people do when they buy our parts. I think that's
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So because I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people. I think a lot of people love the cabin chassis idea. Just buy that, do whatever you want with it. But there's gonna be a few hardcore guys like, oh, I wanted to do it myself. You still can.
And
that
there's nothing stopping. Like there's nothing legally that we can do to stop you once you buy it.
So
and also it's just it goes back to like, hey, we are making, and I want to make it very clear, we are putting all of our computer code as open source. Everything we do on our truck, all the computer codes, all the programming is open source. So there is nothing stopping somebody from looking at those computer codes and doing any programming on their own. We use the Danfoss programming system. I think we still use the Danfoss programming system. We may have changed it. But we use one of the common programming systems that people can go into, download, see it. Nothing we can do to stop somebody from doing it on their own.
So we already have customers saying, as soon as your kit's available, I want to put it in a houseboat. He goes, like, it makes sense on a houseboat. So why not have a couple batteries? And I don't want to listen to my engine running all the time, the generator running all the time. But I want my accommodations for living comfortably in my house, right? So watching TV or whatever that is. So we're not making boats. Doesn't mean that you can't take our kit and put it in a boat. Why not? See, let us know how it works. If it works really good, who knows?
This is one of the things where I think long run, Edison is going to be one of the more successful companies out there. Is that so many of the things we are doing, so much of the technology we have created is leading to things in industrialization. We're looking at people trying to do it in agriculture, doing it things in boats, the mining industry, the logging industry outside of the trucks. And we are the ones moving forward with this hybrid technology, which means we're going to be selling these parts, selling these things, making these codes open source, letting people use it, which means that people are becoming naturally ingrained into our ecosystem, which means that we're making it really like easy to repair parts that people are going to want to buy. So when they want to program these things, they want to do their projects, I'm hoping they'll buy those inverters from Edison. I hope they'll buy their batteries from Edison. I hope they'll get integrated so that way that people are trained on Edison systems can work on these Edison systems. And that builds this common core design thing that can grow and grow. So as you move in, like, yes, trucks and vehicles are our focus. But over 10, 20 years, why can't we be the powerhouse of electrification and hybridization of industrial technology going forward? Because by God, does this technology make sense for so many different applications? I want to be the one at the driving core center of that, because I think that's the best way to fix a lot of bullshit that we're seeing in our world. A lot of planned obsolescence, lack of right to repair. I want to take over these industries beyond just the trucking sector. I would eventually.
John Deere is going to assassinate you. John Deere just hates this guy.
I would never get into tractors. It's true though. You think about all the applications. It's like if we are looking 10, 20 years down the line, that is what I'd like to do. I'd like to see the technology that we're developing expand outwards, like Rich was saying with the houseboat guys. And I know there's at least 20 other guys I've talked to that want to do the same thing.
I know a lot of guys who mentioned agriculture, and it's like 100%. I do think there's a market for it, but like we have so much on the go right now. There's so much.
We've already been selling the parts to people that want to do these things.
No, and I'm saying
I know we don't talk about it very much, but like me and Eric have already sold a bunch of batteries and inverters and all those sorts of technologies out, because we've been saying like, hey, we're not tackling the engineering, and they're like, yeah, we just want to be able to buy these things. Like the supply chain is hard to find. It's hard to find people that can sell good batteries, good inverters, be able to source those things. So we've been kind of helping those out, and people want to buy them. They've been approaching us, and we've been selling them. So it's something that's already happening. Yeah. And now, over the last 3 years, it's probably once we get the trucks figured out, say 3-4 years down the line, if we had a division dedicated to that, we would conquer those markets 100%, hands down. That's what takes you from $1 billion company to $1 trillion company.
That's the way
we do get a ton of emails from people like asking for advice on their projects, like constantly. And so we now have this avenue where through our merch store, you can book a consultation, and it's priced enough to we know people that are kicking tires or just aren't like solid on following through. But for like $250, you can get an hour consultation with Eric, and he'll help you figure your project out. And all that money, the $250 is 100% deductible from the parts you order, like the batteries you order and stuff. So if you're serious about it, and you're like, I like this crazy project, it's one thing for people to say it, but if you're serious, then you would pay the money to progress it. But there's an option if anyone wants. It's on the website. Also,
it's crazy to say it, but $250 for an hour with Eric is undervalued. Like it probably is now. So much to do. Like
an hour
it might be $300.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
but still.
He barely
I think it's not dedicated to Eric though. Is like we may start doing on some of the engineers a little bit more on the questionnaire. We're gonna we got to get a questionnaire going on that so we can direct it to. It's not always Eric, because Eric is largely focused on the accounting side of things now. While very talented, it starts making sense to move it to more. But it's still pretty good for engineering services for an hour.
Oh yeah,
Rich. Mike Maxwell, he paid to tell you that he loves seeing Rich pull the semi truck in the tank.
Thanks, Mike. It was a nerve-wracking day. It was one of those where we brought the truck back home again from the track, and it was a good day. Nothing broke. We were able to still supply the truck, but a lot of thought and effort goes into stuff like that. So it's nice to be appreciated.
He also had a good one for you there, Chase. It was could a person who buys the traditional Edison semi possibly bring it back later to get the hybrid installed?
Yes, we've been very, very clear on the Edison engineering that is the plan. So basically everything we are doing on the mechanical truck, all the wiring harnesses, there's going to be a total parallel in the thing. So if you have it, it's got the same suspension, same cab mount, everything as much as possible should be similar to minimize. So if you buy a mechanical and then the hybrids go when you want to upgrade, it should be real easy. Because one of the issues we had with electrifying other people's and doing the conversions was very similar to the pickup. This one, cross members are in the same spot. Everything is in the same spot. Holes should all be punched out similar as much as possible. There may be one or two cross members or an engine mount or two that has to move slightly, but it should be as easy as possible to convert.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. I don't know if we can talk about it or not. There's another video of you pulling the truck, but it didn't have anything on it. Can we talk about that video or no?
Of us pulling the Kenworth with no.
Yeah. Can we talk about it or not?
So we should have just bypassed that. Unfortunately,
we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
We were a little bit understaffed. I just wanted to make sure that the truck could pull it, and then we didn't have anybody in the semi, but the truck, like my driveway goes up, and unfortunately, we got going so fast and so quick that we did go up, but the semi was still coming and kind of hit the back of the Land Cruiser, put a little dent in the bumper. So I got to
the same bumper though.
What's that? No. The bumper on the Kenworth got damaged.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not only did we rip the bumper off and drive over it on the Land Cruiser, we also rear-ended the Land Cruiser with a semi-truck.
That wasn't in the video. That was private video, was it not?
I think all that one was private. Okay.
That was not a public video.
That's why I didn't really talk about it.
But now we know what happens when the Land Cruiser gets rear-ended, and what fault codes happen when the motors instantly get pushed, right? So it was all in the name
Learning
of testing.
curve. You did this
Yeah,
for
it's
science.
It's for science.
Science.
For science.
And now we know you need a driver for the other.
Yeah.
I mean, you really dedicated. Be like, we are proving that the semi truck's not under its own power. It doesn't even have a driver.
Yeah, there's nobody in the
truck doesn't have a driver.
And if anybody is interested in the Kenworth, if you've seen that one in the video, it is for sale. We are selling that one. We were partners with a scrapyard, and that owner is retiring and wants to get out of his half of that. So we're selling the Kenworth about a 359 Pete. So we're gonna rebuild that on the channel,
Nice.
and then use that to shunt stuff around.
Shameless plug there, Rich.
Shameless
That's
plug.
It's a
And
nice truck.
does it come
is
with a front bumper?
genuinely-
It comes with a perfect front bumper, I
An
guarantee.
undented front bumper.
No.
One other thing, we released a video chase a couple weeks ago, and people were losing their shit about ABS testing. Should we touch that? Like when the
I mean, they're like
truck-
what like. You can see that one, like we have some actuation when we don't. Or like we do, you have to do testing in all configurations. You have to test everything off, on, traction control off, tires gripping, tires not gripping. There is a lot of testing that happens, and in the course of hours and hours and hours and hours of testing, only 10 minutes of that makes it to a video.
Mm-hmm.
And we also destroyed the GoPro on test number 3. What was it? The third run down, and I destroyed your GoPro.
Yeah, we're down at GoPro 2, but yeah, you
I'm
got to
sure
test
Darren was
every
so happy about that.
aspect. And like, you can't include everything in the video, or it gets too long. It has to be compressed into like something that keeps your attention, makes you keep watching. If you string out the story too long, it's just people tune out. So the reason you watched that video was it was compressed, but yeah, we lose things, and we were testing all the different aspects of the truck. But yes, our trucks will have ABS. They do have ABS, and the ABS works.
I wish they didn't, but
People were heard about
And
that.
and to be fair, like logging, I want my ABS off. Like I would on my trailer ABS barely lasts when you're logging. Like there's always log.
No.
So it gives you a little light on it. I just unplug
unplug the light.
you unplug the light so it doesn't show your ABS in case you get pulled into the DOT. They don't.
Which of
pull your
course
light
is
out.
terrible, and I
Yeah,
never
no.
recommend anybody
Wait.
doing.
Yeah,
ever.
I
knew
that.
Never
Yeah, no,
unplug
what-
your
I
ABS
misspoke.
light. Always
It
have
wasn't
working
me.
ABS at all times.
I heard of a guy that
I also
heard-
heard of people. I heard that when
These
people are
terrible
logging,
people
they will
out there.
unplug the light that alerts them in order to not. I don't know who those people are, or do I agree with them that don't do anything that makes your vehicle work much more effectively and with less downtime and less headaches if it compromises what the government tells you to do.
Good one.
Always listen to the
Matt,
government.
I
They know
hate
best on every aspect of driving.
ABS, traction control, all that in semis is ridiculous. Like I was driving a Kenworth in a wet, muddy field, and your traction control kicks on and just
It's
bogs you
stupid.
down. What are we doing? What are we like? You're trying to get moving, all of a sudden the driver in front of me.
You know
he's
what
just
makes
flying
me
and blah, blah, blah,
super-
blah, blah.
Right,
annoying.
Chase,
Like,
put your
so
mic down.
goddamn-
Put your
I'm
mic
sorry.
down.
It's gonna be super hard to edit the audio if your levels
Okay.
are constantly changing.
You know what? You know what drives me fucking nuts on the traction control? The traction control works by braking the tires, and it's like, whoa, you're slipping on a tire. Apply brake. Our electric motors, because we got one electric motor on each tire, knows as soon as one tire is slipping because they can monitor the difference in speed between the other 4 tire groups. So if one's spinning, it can be like, oh, okay, I slow that one down, compensate, and it happens in like tenths of a split of a second. It happens so fast with the electric motor for traction control. But then the government still says you need to brake, and it's like spinning,
What?
spinning, everything's going good, and it's like brake. And you're like,
Yeah.
why do I need this? The electric motors don't need this. I don't have a driveline. I have an infinitely better system. And you're like, but the regulations haven't caught up with the fact that like this doesn't need traction control,
Yeah.
but I still have to spend $8,000 on a traction control system to install to make my truck worse because nobody thought of this. And it's like, can I prove that it's better? And they're like, no, you need to buy the system.
So with
Fucking
that though,
dicks.
like our truck will have that, but are we gonna have like an off switch that actually works? Like all of them have the off
Yes,
switch. None of them
I am-
actually work. None of them actually
Oh, they
actually start.
suck.
I
No,
want-
well, I
like-
mean, it's hard because it's based on the computer program.
Mhm.
So I don't know 100% yet if that's a OEM thing that the truck manufacturer puts in a switch that half disables or whether we have full disables. We're still looking at the programming. But if I have an option for traction control off, by fucking God, when I push that, traction control is off and it will stay off until I decide to push that button again. Same as ABS. If I push ABS off, ABS is going off until I decide to push that button back on. Because it has been, honestly, it's been proven that ABS on dirt roads stops you worse than ABS. Like in our testing, when I was on the loose gravel and I jammed on those brakes and locked those tires up, I stopped quicker than when the tires didn't lock up. You do not want ABS. And a truck that's going to be off-road 100% of the time, just push the button, disable the ABS, keep going. Get on with your business.
We'll have a switch in there for 100% off, and it just says off-road use only. And then is our ass covered? Hopefully. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's all that the other guys do. Off-road use, off-road ABS, off-road traction control. That's it. There's like I have to install it like Bendix that makes the ABS traction control unit. So it's whatever the Bendix thing says, and how with the level of programming, I just don't know where we're into. We've been busy programming our trucks, so we haven't had time to play around with the things like that ABS abilities yet. It's not on the priority list. Poor Conrad's already working on enough things. Well, it's in the to-do list in Udo now.
Beauty. Well, we're going pretty long. Anything else? What do we got? Is that it?
Rich?
I think that's it.
That's everything I wanted to talk about. The updates, massive success on the first prototype, and we're going to change a few things on the second one. And I can't wait to drive the truck out to see you guys in the spring. I mean, I'll see you out in Golden before then, but the road trip's going to be pretty epic.
Agreed.
Yeah,
All right.
looking forward to it.
Okay,
I cannot wait to do the road trip.
So the plugs, investments opened. It is, damn, I clapped. My audio guys will be mad at me. Investments opened for all Canadians, but and most of international. And the only thing is for U.S. investors, you have to be accredited only. That's on our website. I think we've got a few orders of the diecast. I'm getting notifications on my phone. I think there are 75 left. So those, if they're there by tomorrow afternoon, I would be surprised. So if you want one, get them. And yeah, okay, that's it.
Perfect.
Awesome.